wasn't expecting you. Kinda forgot that you were coming today. Oh no, I'm not busy. Come in. No, nothing's wrong. I'm just a little tired. Anywho, how's school been, cutie? Yeah, Eric. Haven't seen him since you last came over with him. Heard he's been sick or something. Yeah. Anywho, guess what? I made you mac and cheese. Are you hungry? Good. Here you go, my cutie. I made it just the way you like it. Yeah, I was gardening earlier. There's been a problem with a big root in my garden, so I had to dig pretty deep, and that's got me a little tired and out of breath, that's all. Anywho, I'm hungry too, so let's dig into our mac and cheese. We sure did clean up that bowl, didn't we? Or I guess, at least, I did. Man, physical work really works your appetite, don't it? I'm a little sleepy. How are you feeling? Well, okay. You're not tired, but do you want to listen to some stories? Yeah, okay. Because I'm tired, and I don't think I can be doing anything other than have a slow, relaxing night with you tonight. Yeah, is that okay? Right on then. Good boy. Let's go upstairs and get ready for some stories. Now you feel comfortable? Are we ready to begin? Let's continue the story from last time, shall we? The story of bedtime. This was it. I was going to confront this monstrosity from my past, this tormentor of children, this coward. Raising my right hand slowly, I accidentally touched the fabric of the curtain, causing a subtle ripple which parted them momentarily. I gasped, for through that temporary slit, only for a moment, I saw it. My God, how can I describe what was standing there? Even now I close my eyes and wish that I could erase it from my memory. It shivered and shook as it continued to murmur, repeating some indecipherable phrases sounding like a bizarre mixture of numerous languages. Its emaciated skin stretched over an unnatural frame of brittle and prominent bones, vertebrae, ribs, and other inner workings almost protruding through its paper-thin, pale, languidly pink, and almost bruised-looking husk. As malnourished as it appeared, the stomach was distended in places, and its bony appearance did nothing to diminish the feeling that it was capable of exerting itself with brute, perverted force on any of its victims. Sickness swelled in my stomach. A tainted, offensive smell filled the air, and as it murmured and whispered in the darkness through what sounded like broken, fractured teeth, I cannot help but feel pity for this wretch, quivering in the night as a victim of a long starvation. I quickly came to my senses and realized that this thing was not to be pitied but feared, not to be understood but exposed. It was not shivering because it was cold. once again prepared myself to remove its shrouded cloth protection and to reveal it for what it was. A cold-hearted vandal, a prowler of the worst kind, a deviant festering in its own delectation. As I once again raised my hand to draw the curtain, something caught my attention. Its incessantly confused, gravelly, and inarticulate whispers squeezed through that broken mouth and uttered the three most terrifying words I have ever heard. Look behind you. A cold breath slid down the back of my neck. Momentarily I froze, but love is a powerful motivator. Had I been on my own, fear would have taken me, shaking any possibility of resistance from my mind. But with Mary sleeping soundly in the same room as that thing, shielding someone I love from that wretch was my only thought. I turned around slowly, and as I did so, I could hear it wheezing, gasping, and groaning for air. At a quarter turn, I could smell its breath. The stench of death hung in the air, plague-like and foul. Then I heard another voice. It was not that of horror in the darkness, but Mary. She let out a scream which startled and distressed me to my very core, a scream which will haunt me for the rest of my days. I turned quickly and laid eyes on it, but it wasn't behind me. It was on the bed. It writhed and rasped, wheezing in delight, its bony spine curved with the anguish of countless years protruding through a ragged, torn piece of cloth which hung loosely over its torso in a vain attempt to appear almost human. But was it human? Had it once been a human, or was it something so vile, so despicable, so utterly and sorrowfully contemptible that no man or woman could ever attempt to quantify or understand it? I sprung forward towards it, grabbing, hitting, pulling at that thing with every ounce of my strength. Its loose skin slipping through my hands, it squeezed and forced Mary's face into her pillow with glee as its other limbs arched and contorted, tearing at her nightdress, running its long, starved fingers over her naked body with its sordid caress. Mary's screams were muffled by the pillow as I began to fear that she was being suffocated. I shouted, I yelled, I pleaded with that thing to leave her alone, to take me, to do anything it wanted, but that only served to animate the fiend to even greater depths of depravity. It was hurting her, cutting her, my beautiful Mary. Suddenly, it stopped attacking her, but it still kept one of its brittle, gangly, and gaunt yet weighted hands on the back of Mary's head, pushing her face further into her pillow. I had my hands around its putrid neck, trying as best I could to strangle the beast, but my efforts were in vain. Its scrawny frame belied its overpowering strength. I watched in sickly disbelief as it began to run its cadaverous fingers through Mary's hair, slowly and almost with affection. I could now hear the twisting and cracking of bone, the popping of cartilage, the snapping of tendons. Thank God it was not coming from Mary. I was now on its back with my arms wrapped around its throat and my chin rubbing against the abrasive skin of its shoulder. As its spine dug sharply into my stomach, it twisted its head in an entirely inhuman way. Its neck clicked and groaned under the strain with every arthritic movement as if hindered by 1,000 years of rigor mortis. It was now looking lost my grip. I swore. I screamed. I would have torn its throat out if I could have, but it was all in vain as it continued to run its scrawny fingers through Mary's hair nonchalantly while looking at me. I don't think I will ever truly recover from the sound which seeped out through what I assumed to be its approximation of a grin. A wheezing sigh, a grunt, something which sounded very close to a sinister, otherworldly laugh. As if its face touched mine, its eyes stared deep into me. Not even my reflection was returned. 2 looking glasses into a sanctuary for the dark, devoid of light, happiness, and love. It was staring as if it wished to say something, as if it was trying to communicate a simple idea to me. Malice. With the wrenching, stuttered, and violent movement, it tore an entire fistful of air from Mary's head, leaving behind it an open wound. Then it was gone. Mary did not scream. She merely whimpered. I turned the bedside lamp on, but no words of care or sympathy could console her. She wept uncontrollably. The bed was soaked in blood, which had seeped out from the numerous scratches on her head, and the large cut where an entire section of her hair had once been. I hugged her, told her that everything would be all right. Then she looked at me. Looking at her tear-filled eyes, I knew what she thought immediately. She thought I had attacked her, that I had done these terrible things to her. Of all the experiences I have had, the look of betrayal, disgust, and contempt on Mary's face will remain the most painful. She's gone. After composing herself, she gathered up some things and left. I tried to explain. I tried to tell her everything that had been happening, but she would not listen. Who would believe such a preposterous story? She simply said that she would not call the police, but that if I ever attempted to contact her, she would do just that. To her, I was the aggressor, not that thing. As she left, she turned to look at me one last time and then burst into tears. I know now that I have lost her forever. The woman I loved more than anything on this earth thinks I'm a violently hideous human being. If only she could understand that whatever did this, that it was not human, and even if it ever was, had long since abandoned that nature. It was 5 a.m. when Mary left me. It's 9 a.m. now. I'm sitting here in the cold light of day at my kitchen table, writing this so that there is some record of what has transpired, so that people know, so that Mary knows that whatever happens, that whatever occurs from here on in, that it was that despicable creature from my childhood, from that cursed narrow room all those years ago, which rained this misery down upon me, upon us. I must now dispense with the sentiment. I could easily sit here mourning the loss of my relationship with Mary, or I could allow myself to be overcome with fear, to do nothing. But that simply will not do. I can hear the laughter of my neighbors' children outside, at different stages in my life. I remember that same feeling of joy and happiness from something as simple as playing with friends, or climbing a tree, or kissing the woman you love, or even drifting off to sleep at bedtime, the dreams of what could be, in the safety of a happy family home. Memories, only memories. I fear I will never experience that happiness again. This thing has broken me, but I am resolute. Whatever that hideous wretch has in store, whatever it desires to do with me, I will not allow that thing to harm another child's life as it did mine all those years ago. I must leave you all now, as there's not much to be done before it gets dark, before it returns. My plans are made, and with any luck, they will succeed. I wish I could say we will speak again, but I think that is unlikely. I hope you understand what must be done, because tonight I'm going to kill it. Part 5. Sleep tight. I'm shaking as I write this. I was released by the police less than 2 hours ago, and I am compelled to record the events of the past day and night as quickly and as accurately as possible. In some ways I want to forget, but I know that I cannot. I know that I should not. For my own sanity, I must divulge what has happened. It is far too important. Should I ever allow myself to be swayed by the mechanical, rational nature of the world once again, these words should serve to remind me that what is unseen is both mysterious and frightening. After Mary left, I knew that I had lost her forever, but rather than be consumed by depression and inaction, I was invigorated by one purpose, by one thought, by one idea that I knew I had to carry out. I had to destroy that thing, for I could not allow the chance that it may one day hurt my loved ones or desecrate the innocence of another child. I also knew that I faced death, but feeling that I had already lost everything, that was a small price to pay. It is said that revenge is a dish best served cold, but having waited my entire adult life to be rid of this thing, its memory and the shadow that it had cast upon me, I met the proposition of killing this fiend, this corrupt and perverted force, with a smile on my face. That night it would be dead, even if I had to drag it to hell with me. Busying myself for the next few hours, I packed a bag and wrote a letter to Mary and my family explaining what had happened and that they weren't to blame. I phoned my mother and father, then my brother, just to hear their voices one last time, but I did not let on that I thought I may never speak to them again. My mother intuition led her to ask if everything was all right. I smiled and told her I loved her before reluctantly saying goodbye. At about 7 o'clock, I made my way out to the car. The sun had already set, and the street seemed eerily quiet, as if the scene of an unattended funeral. I sat in the driver's seat, leaving the door on the other side open, awaiting my most unwelcome passenger. By 9 o'clock, nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. The place remained deserted, and the cold night air flowing through the open door was beginning to bite. As I sat there, contemplation echoed through my mind. I ruminated on the nature of this cadaverous parasite. One question rose out of the sea of thoughts, towering above all else, unmoving and continuous. Can you kill something which is already dead? I do not know if this was a thing of the grave or some unworldly spectre which could be considered alive in some way, but just as I was re-evaluating my plan, there it was. It was subtle at first, but there was a small, almost indistinguishable shift in the suspension of the car. Had it been any other circumstances, I would have put this down to a gust of wind pushing and pulling at the chassis. But I was all too familiar with that feeling from all those years ago, as the bunk bed would shift slightly with that thing climbing into the bottom bed. I knew its foul, calling guard. The air stark reminder of the ominous isolation of night. Occasionally, on the way I could hear something from behind, but I refused to look for that thing in the dark. Patience. It would not be long before I would confront it. The irony hit me. I was worried about scaring off the same thing which had terrified and tortured me as a child. I had to be resilient, and so drove carefully and calmly through the countryside, swamped by darkness, hoping that my unearthly passenger would not suspect me. I arrived. The wheels of the car struggled and slid on the undergrowth as I headed off to the narrow country road. The landscape had opened up as I looked at the broken and rotting trees around me. I felt that it was fitting to come to this bleak place in the cold night to destroy that bleakest of things. The land suddenly came to an abrupt end. A cliff edged out from an old quarry, looking deep into the black waters of the lake below. The cliff edge was relatively flat, and had in fact at one time housed the road which had subsided into the lake decades earlier. The local kids would tell stories about the vengeful ghosts of those killed during the subsidence, but they were just stories. Or perhaps they weren't. In the past I would have disregarded such tales, but who would believe mine if I told it to them now? I switched the engine off and parked several meters away from the cliff edge, switching off any lights and composing myself for what would come. I sat in the car for what seemed a lifetime, the only company given to me by the occasional splash of water against the cliff below. And then I waited. This thing was so smart. Of that there was no doubt. It had toyed with me, relishing the pain and torment it had caused, as only something of a coldly frozen intellect could. For this reason, I knew it would suspect me, and perhaps even flee if I brought the car too close to the cliff's edge. I had waited for it to attack, let it feed, let it revel and gorge itself on me. Perhaps then it would not notice as I slowly plunged the car into that dark, icy water below. I was gonna drown that bastard. I had appraised the potential consequences in my head and reasoned that there would be a moment, a singular moment, where I would have a slim opportunity to escape from the car just before it reached the edge. Mary and I used to go there occasionally, a place to be together away from everything else, and it did not look nearly as dark during a summer's day. I therefore had the place in mind and knew it well. The drop was at least 30 feet to the depths below, and I did not want to be in the car as it hit the water, nor trapped inside with that abomination. So I waited. Then I heard it. Slowly at first, and then increasing in rate and volume. A rasping, wheezing breath from behind. Strangely, it sounded more labored than before. Each breath a struggle filled with fluid, rotten and decayed. A shiver ran up my spine. A rank, foul smell began to fill the air. The breath drew closer from behind. My heart began to race, beating hard, and as fast as I looked up and saw the windscreen begin to ice up from inside. closed the book, put a blanket over her. The babysitter had fallen asleep. You looked out the window, pondering what to do for a while. Then you see the fresh dirt mounted in the garden. Quietly, you made your way downstairs and into the garden. Grabbing the shovel that lay right next to the mound, you started digging. You weren't sure why you were doing this, but some curiosity has led you here. Hey, what are you doing out here? You shouldn't be wandering around without me with you. You don't know how dangerous this place is. Come on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, but it's late. You should be sleeping by now, and I'm supposed to be watching over you. You can't leave me just like that. You scared me. Okay, now let's go wash our hands and get back inside. I'm sorry I got so angry earlier. I just got scared. That's all. Let's go to sleep, okay? I care about you. And I just want to keep you safe.